Okay, I'm going to show you how to make grain-free granola bars for your kids. Now, I'm gluten-free, but I'm not usually too hard on the other grains, and there they are. But lately, I've been feeling like we've been having a few too many carby, grainy things. So I'd been trying to come up with something else, and this is one that I always come back to because my kids love it. It's simple to make. There are a number of things on the screen that you can see right now, but really it has three basic ingredients, and the others you vary or omit. Nuts. Now, those nuts were soaked for 24 hours, rinsed well, and then dehydrated for 48 hours. Before you click away, you don't do anything while your dehydrator is running. You need to have one, but you don't have to blow on them with your mouth while they're in there. You don't go by and fan them with a Japanese fan. It does all the work by itself. Because it's a long period of time, people tend to go, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." You're actually not doing anything except what you would normally be doing. Okay. So, that's a quarter of a cup of nuts, and it's the nuts of your choice. I highly recommend soaking them to remove the enzyme inhibitor and then dehydrating them for a very long time at a high temperature. And the reason I say that is because I keep mine at room temperature. And if none of your ingredients, those are dried pineapple chunks that are sweetened, if none of your ingredients came out of the refrigerator or you didn't add any liquid, water, milk, no liquids to it, then you can store it out of the refrigerator. So everything came out of the pantry. If it's all bone dry and lives in the pantry, the end product can also live in the pantry. Okay, so you don't want to have any moisture in those nuts at all. There's the dried coconut. So on the screen are the three main ingredients. I'm going to adjust the lighting because it's so bright you can't even tell what's in there. Yeah, you still can't, but it's a little better. That is dried, shredded, unsweetened coconut. Um, and then the dates, and then the almonds. Those are the three main ingredients. Now I start out by pitting the dates. Again, I didn't buy mine pitted because I don't want to pay for the labor to do that. It doesn't take long to pit them. There are about 8 dates, if I didn't say so already. What you saw me put in the back just now is my trash bucket. I cannot function without my trash bucket. The trash can is right down below the countertop right there, but it's just so much faster to have a bowl or something that you can chunk things into when you're cooking. So you can substitute the dates. I don't know if I said this already for currants, um, raisins. I think blueberries would work. Whatever fruit you decide to use needs to be a little tacky because that helps it bind together. So I'm going to put those in the little blender cup, put the lid on it, and I'm going to use the magic bullet. Now, I do not like this one. I had one for years. The bottom of it stripped where the gears fit together to make the blade turn. And when it's stripped, I couldn't use it anymore. So that meant I had to buy a new one. Yeah, this one is not nearly as good as my previous one. Now there's still like one whole date hiding in there somewhere, and that's okay too. It's a nice chewy surprise of sweetie goodness when your kids bite into it. So it's okay if there's whole pieces left. The adding the coconut will help kind of blend up whatever didn't get blended. You just need to get it going. And again, it's okay if it's still whole. I don't want like an entirely whole one, but a half or a quarter, that's fine. So that was 3/4 of a cup of dried, shredded, unsweetened coconut. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm going shaky, 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 which you're probably not supposed to do, but it doesn't work as well as the old ones, so you have to encourage it to get down in the blades. And it's hard to tell what's going on because the dates on the side make it look like nothing's happening, but it's blending. So I'm just gonna kind of stir it. Now this would be a lot easier if I was willing to dirty another bowl, but I am not. um, so I didn't dump it out into a bigger bowl to stir better. But if you just go slow and be careful, the fork works perfectly fine in the container to get it all mixed around. When I do these, I literally just like whip them up in, I don't know, 4 minutes while babies impatiently wait for them to get ready. And when I recorded this, my kids were in bed asleep because there is no way this machine would get to run without children running to the kitchen to get some. Like the sound of this, they associate with this particular food. So, yeah. Okay, shaky, 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 done. I'm going to dump that out in a bowl. And there's like one whole date hiding in there. And you know what's funny is I took it out. I was like, oh, I'll put this inside. Yeah, I ate that. I did not put that in a bowl. But the rest of it did really well. Kind of chop that around. You can blend all the coconut separate if you want it really fine, but my kids actually like a little texture to it. So next, I'm going to grind up the nuts. And when you soak almonds, they become very brittle and light. It's quite strange. Like, is the enzyme inhibitor what makes them heavy? I have no idea. But as you can see, I can just split this with one hand, and I can actually break the half with my finger, which you can't really do with the wet almond or almond that hasn't been soaked. So I'm going to blend these into basically a powder. You can make them as small as you want. Because they're brittle, I feel like they're a little bit safer because they're more likely to chew them completely since they're easier to chew because they're brittle. But I'm still going to grind it into basically a powder, and then I'm going to do a quick check as I dump them in to make sure that if there are any chunks left, I agree with that being um, okay in size for my babies. At this age, they shove things in their mouth and hope for the best. So I, I do a lot of making sure things are bite size. So that's like 4 pieces of the dried pineapple. And I'm going to make those bite size as well. Yeah, not the best knife skills in the world, but gets the job done. And I get to keep my fingers. So I'm going to call that a success. Okay, once I've got that blended up, one last piece. I don't like that one. Okay, now I'm good. I'm going to dump those in there. Again, extra dried fruit is optional. It's already fairly sweet because of the dates, but I feel like the protein from the nuts helped to kind of offset some of that. And that was what, 10 cranberries? So now I'm going to clear my workspace off a little bit and dump in the finely powdered. I think there was one lone nut in there somewhere. Yeah, there's that guy. I think I eventually ate that too. I'm just putting things aside because I'm recording, but yeah, no, those get eaten. So I'm just gonna dump that in. Another recipe I like to make is just gluten-free pretzels. It's a snack. Gluten-free pretzels, and I use this powdered nut mixture, and I sprinkle it over quartered dates so that they don't stick together. And it's just powdered, almond powdered date pieces mixed with pretzels. And my kids love that one as a snack too. And that's another one of the snacks that I can just keep in the car. I mean, they only last a day or two in the car, but once you've gotten that all mixed together, you just tamp it down with your fingers. Now, this is a different bowl that I'm going to show you because I actually made 2 batches of this stuff. But I'm going to show you that you can roll this into a ball, which I also do. I take a bunch of them. The almond flour is making it not stick together, so it's easy to get whatever shape you want to get. You can press it out into like a cookie like that. You can stamp it with a cookie cutter if you want to do that. There's a lot of flexibility with these things, and they're sweet and good. So anyway, I'm just going to tamp mine down and make bars, but it's warm right now, and the coconut oil in the coconut, the shredded coconut, has heated up, so it's sort of looser than it would be after a little bit of refrigeration. So in order to get it into the shape I want, I'm going to let it chill in the refrigerator. I left mine overnight, but I've certainly fed it to my children like that, and I've certainly um, left it for like an hour. So this is the other container, but that one sat in the refrigerator overnight. Like you need to see a lid, right? It had this lid on it. What? Ugh. Anyway, so I'm going to dump that on the cutting board. And the idea is I'm just going to cut it into squares. So like I said, I don't usually add the extra fruit. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I usually keep them, this is meant to be a snack on the go. So I cut them up and we keep them in the car so that if I'm away from home and a snack time rolls around or even a meal time rolls around, then I can give them these to hold them all over until we can get home and I can get them some real food. I'm just cutting it into something I think is about bite-sized pieces, and this will be a lot easier with a knife that was longer, but yeah. So after I get them all cut into bite-sized squares, then I'm going to show you too that I'm going to take the remnants or the pieces that are weird sizes, just the ones from the perimeter, and I'm going to crumble them because once you get a few of these crumbled up, they go great on top of fruit. So if you have some peaches, just like a bowl of peaches, or blueberries, you can blend up some of the blueberries or some of the peaches and pour that over the top, add a little cinnamon, and then crumble this over the top of the dish. And then you've got like a raw food peach crumble or blueberry crumble pie, whatever you want to call it. This mixture also makes a great, without the dried fruit, makes a great pie base. I use this for the base to my coconut cream pie. So anyway, if you want to do that, or you can put it in a bowl and pour milk over it and treat it like granola after you've crumbled it. Or granola squares in this case, or you can leave them as granola bars, cookie press, cookie shape, rolled in balls. So that is it. Let's see how well the biddies like it. So here's a biddy, and it didn't dawn on me to get the recorder out or the camera out until he had basically finished the bowl. So yeah, that's him. You see a bird down on the last of his bowl. I see it. How many birds do you see? Three. Okay. Actually, that is three birds. Huh. Oh.